All right, so when you think about learning a new language, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm guessing it's flashcards, grammar drills, maybe lots of awkward speaking practice, right? But what if I told you one of the most powerful methods out there involves, well, not speaking at all, at least not at first? Yeah, I know. It sounds kind of crazy. Can you really learn a new language without ever opening your mouth? That's the big question we're going to dig into today. And trust me, the answer might just change how you think about learning. Period. Okay, so take a look at this. I want you to imagine you're sitting in this classroom. The teacher's talking in a language you totally don't understand. But she's not asking you to repeat words back to her. Instead, she says something and she stands up. A few other students stand up too. Then she says something else, and suddenly the whole class is walking over to the door. Nobody's talking, they're just listening, and they're doing. So what in the world is going on? What you're looking at is a technique called Total Physical Response, or TPR for short. And it's a method that basically flips the whole idea of traditional language class right on its head by connecting words directly to physical actions. So here's the core idea, and it comes from a psychologist, Dr. James Asher. He argued that you need to understand a language long before you're ever forced to speak it. So with TPR, students listen to a command, and they just do it. That's it. Simple. The speaking part? Oh, that comes much, much later. So what does this actually look like in a real class? Well, it's surprisingly straightforward and follows a pretty clear, structured path. It starts with a simple command. The teacher says something like, stand up. Then they model it. They actually do the action, maybe with a few students helping out. After that, all the students perform the action together. And finally, once you've learned a couple of commands, the teacher starts to combine them. Something like, walk to the door and sit down. And that's it. That's how you build vocabulary and even grammar, just by doing things. Now, this whole thing might seem a little unusual, but there's a really deep reason why it works so well. This method is actually designed to copy the single most successful language program in human history, the one every single one of us went through as a baby. And this quote just nails the whole philosophy. I mean, think about it, right? We don't hand a one-year-old a grammar book. We just talk to them. They listen, they absorb, and eventually they respond with actions, like waving or pointing, way before they can actually form words. Every child starts with what's called a silent period. They spend months just listening, connecting the sound cup to the actual thing, or bye-bye to the wave of a hand. Their first real responses are physical, so TPR basically hacks into this natural blueprint. It creates its own silent period for learners, letting them build a solid foundation of understanding without any pressure to speak. So let's get into the psychology of it. What's going on in our brains that makes this work so well? Well, TPR is built on a few really important principles. You know that feeling in a typical language class, that fear of messing up when you try to speak in front of everybody? It creates so much anxiety. Well, TPR is specifically designed to be low stress. Since you're not forced to speak, all that pressure just melts away. You can just relax and focus on understanding. This low-stress vibe is all about lowering what psychologists call the affective filter. You can think of it like a mental wall. When we're anxious or stressed, that wall goes way up, and it's really hard for new information to get in. But by turning learning into something more like a game, TPR keeps that filter, that wall, nice and low, and that lets your brain just soak up the new language like a sponge. So if you boil it all down, the whole method rests on these core beliefs. 1. Understand first, speak later. 2. Link words to actions to basically hardwire them into your memory. 3. Let speech happen when it's ready. Don't force it. And maybe most importantly, create a fun, chill space where it's totally okay to make mistakes. Okay. I can hear you now. Sure, I can learn stand up and sit down, but how in the world does this get me to having a real conversation? And that's a completely fair question. The secret is how TPR cleverly builds from simple to complex. It all starts right here with the absolute basics. A simple verb, a simple noun. Point to the desk. By doing the action, that vocabulary gets cemented in your mind. Then you start to combine things. Walk quickly to the door and hit it. Now check this out. Without even realizing it, you just learned an adverb, quickly, and a conjunction, and. You didn't study a grammar rule, you felt it. You know the difference between just walking and walking quickly because you've done it. And before long, you're able to follow entire sequences like this. This isn't just a list of words anymore. It's a whole little story. It's a complex, multi-step process. And you've understood it all without saying a single word yourself. And this is the magic moment. After weeks of just listening and doing, when a student finally feels ready, they start speaking. But they don't start by reciting some canned dialogue. No, they actually take over the teacher's role. They start giving the commands, making up their own sentences. Speech just emerges. It's natural, it's creative, and it's all built on that incredibly solid foundation of understanding. Total physical response really challenges us to stop seeing language as some academic subject to be studied, and instead as a living, breathing tool to be experienced. It leaves us with this one big thought to chew on. What is the real key to learning isn't just about thinking, but about getting up and actually doing.